Rooney Rule. Good luck with this one. I am jumping out of this one. Oh, God. Did OG show up? OG showed up. Okay, here we go. The Rooney, all right. All right, let me tell you, love it or hate it is going to be the conversation. And we saw Mike Vrabel a week or two ago get his job. It seemed like, who else were you going to hire? You fired Jerome Mayo and immediately insert Mike Vrabel. I get it. That's the guy for the gig. But I get text by my financial advisor / friend, Greg Eastman. Y'all don't know who he is, of course. He represents people like Eddie George and others. Point being, Eddie George gets an interview with the Chicago Bears. I know about this before the media does. I'm like, oh, that's dope. That's dope. It happens. Right after that, I mean, I don't think Eddie was at the airport. Ben Johnson is the head coach. Let's just say that he looks different than Eddie George. So this Rooney Rule has become this box you must check, but do you even care what you're writing in the box? So I want to ask you guys, Rooney Rule, love it or hate it?
I mean, I hate it. I hate it because, you know, Raheem Morris is one of my all-time favorite coaches. And I used to sit down and talk to him off season. He used to always be like, I know I'm gonna get at least 2 every year. Every year he got checked off the box because he had to fill in that rule. I'm so happy now that he finally has opportunity to go show what he is capable of, because I think he's one of the best coaches I played for besides Gruden. But he was always used to tell me, but he had to do it because it would look bad if he didn't.
If you did.
If he didn't said it was. He said, I mean, I don't want to speak on it, but after doing it so many times, you wouldn't want to do it all the time. But you have to do it to hold that thing, and it paid off for him because eventually. It paid off for him. You got it. But it's not going. I don't know if it's going to pay off for that. But it's just sad that some guys know going in there that they're just a check off the box.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that.
And the first thing the Patriots announced was that they had interviewed 2 black cats. Right. I can't remember who it was.
Leftwich.
But that was the
Byron Leftwich.
That was the scroll on ESPN.
Of course.
And that was the first thing we heard from the Patriots.
Did we do our part?
So as soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh, they already hired a white dude."
Oh, that part. And how does that make you feel? The pandering, the affirmative action of it, like just it to me just suggests to me that you think I have an inferiority complex. Like, you don't have to interview anybody that looks kind of close to me, because I'm looking around this room, none of y'all look like me, but they want to act like we all look alike. Or we all the same. I'm like, y'all, that's why I don't buy into that. I'm like,
let me I'm gonna push back.
If there's no substance, it makes no sense.
I'm gonna push back because if Raheem Morris hadn't been getting those Rooney Rule interviews for 5 or 6 years, would he got the interview for the Falcons job
to get it?
You see what I'm saying?
No,
so maybe it helped.
I put that in that thing. Raheem is one of the top D coordinators in the league.
Right.
Eddie George is coming from a black college. We knew he was
No, I know.
We knew he was a far spectrum. But I feel
maybe that's
right
part of
it. But when they're pulling Eddie George in and Byron Leftwich, who hasn't been in the league for the last couple of years,
they got Leftwich
they're just New England. They're just that's a check off the box.
Time out. DP, I didn't know this. Leftwich interview for Chicago.
For New England. No, for New England.
New England?
Yeah, completely 2 cats you
and
knew.
That's my dog.
You knew good and well neither one of those cats were getting that job.
They weren't gonna get the kids.
It was a checklist. So if there's no substance behind it, what's the point?
Well,
it's insulting.
but then here's the thing: if we say what's the point, and then we just leave everyone to their own devices to hire who they're gonna hire, and just not even talk to anybody, then what you do is you run the risk of not even being exposed to people. So it's not about the interview that you go on.
Yeah.
It's about having your name out there, so the next time maybe you get a genuine interview for somebody else. If not, it's going to be the same thing that we're saying. If you look on the sidelines, we now see more black coaches than we've ever seen. We see more black quarterbacks and all that other stuff. At some point, you have to put it out there. And if it wasn't happening before, where guys weren't getting opportunities and exposure in those things, it'd never happen if you were allowed to go back to what it was.
Facts.
So you have to have it to at least create the conversation. But you can't make anybody hire anybody. Right. But you at least want to have an opportunity to have the discussion, regardless of whether it's real or fake.
So you can't legislate desire, but like EPMD, please listen to my demo. And if you listen to my demo, I can make an album, and the album gonna sound better than the demo. But you gotta first listen to my demo. And I think I respect that. Nothing. See, this is why no one's dumb. I'm going back. Because no matter what side you're on, you see the other side's point. Like, I hear you.
No, because I hear
and I don't
Bucky
want to do those fake interviews, but I hear you.
Because Bucky, you never know. Eddie George might get a bigger job in college now.
Yeah.
And work his way up now.
Because
Because
NFL
he just
him?
got that. Exactly. I understand that.
Here's another to what Bucky said, right? If Byron Leftwich does an interview for the Patriots, it's across the ESPN ticker, who knows that he's a
He
candidate?
might get an old coordinator job somewhere. On these.
So nobody would, but since they did that, they helped his career out, and now he's gonna be on people's minds.
Because it extends beyond. So now it's opened up beyond just head coaching, like your coordinators and all your high executive positions.
How does that
also
interview
have to
go?
be-
All
When
these
you
old
know you ain't
coordinator
gonna
jobs
get it.
gonna open now. So
And you
Leftwich
just sitting
might
there.
be
Let's go chop it up. we just
What are we doing here?
We come from a different perspective.
Different
Different
Go
perspective.
ahead.
I respect
Go
what you
ahead.
guys
Go
are
ahead.
saying. I respect what you guys are saying about the checklist, but try to apply that to NARPS. A lot of us are maybe corporate setting, not professional setting, right? If I'm hiring people, I'm not looking at color. I'm looking at, are you qualified? Are you qualified? Right?
But where they do that at? Where they do that
Why
at?
I gotta feel out I'm black or non-Hispanic?
Asian.
Like, why I gotta write
There's no intent. You guys
Just
tell
like the
me,
Trump
but
thing, felon or
young-
no felon.
Young black males have been told to change your names to look more, I don't know the right word.
All I gotta say is, when I walk into a job interview, and there's been very few times, but even at an athletic experience, you've done it. When I walked into ESPN, and it was a white guy, and I was like, okay, nothing new. And then he was like, hey, Marcellus, what year did you graduate? I said, 97. He said, I'm a Lion too, Columbia. So the color could be the connection, the history could be the connection, something like how do I connect with you? And the color's the easiest one, because I ain't gotta ask you any questions. It's my lazy assumption. But you never been looked at when you walked in the meeting like, oh,
He's
signed
Asian?
up?
Yeah.
Of course you have.
Every time I walk in this room.
Yeah, we're here right now. We like, man. How did he get
No, hold on, but let me go back to why I think
especially your name Jerome.
They're going to be
Jerome?
reverse
Oh, that's
racism, reverse racism, right? Because if I'm looking at, like, everyone's got limited amount of time to interview people, right? So if I got to interview 5 people, I'm going to look for the 5 most qualified. But if I'm forced to have to pick 2 people of color,
I might be at 7 instead of 5.
instead of having 5 10s
Oh,
to
say it.
interview, right? So
Yeah.
then those 2 people who got booted out are saying, well, how come I'm not getting the
I
opportunity?
think
You
corporate,
gotta take your sister homegirl out on the day
corporate
too.
has nothing to do with those 32 NFL owners.
That's what I'm saying. Just to,
The
that's what I'm saying.
only
Not
thing,
football, the politics.
the only thing that I worry about when I hear that, because there's always the assumption that when we say qualified, that the minority candidate is not
qualified, right.
And so what I would say is most people don't hire outside of their circle. Just like we don't, like if I need a contract, I may call you, Richie, hey man, do you know anybody that needs someone to work in my house? It's a relationship business. But because a lot of the people that are doing the hiring,
No, because you said it like if he was the contractor, he's black. And you would call him, do you know
No,
anybody work
I'm
on my
saying
house?
because
Not
I
you
know
know,
him.
call somebody else.
no,
Because I know
let
him live, let him live.
as a point of reference, not anything beyond it.
Everybody here is based on relationship. Like, I know other people. I'm like, I'm gonna call my dogs
Excuse
first.
me, sister, but can you tap
Got
that
that
white girl?
white
Spencer.
Listen, I just want to say is
Chris, that's the homie. Yeah.
you need the Rooney Rule because, like I touched on, to create the opportunity. It's just like, and it's going a little deeper in conversation, but you see when the Supreme Court ended affirmative action, right?
And they should have. Look at your face.
Some-
I'm hoping you take that. I'm hoping you take that.
He baited me.
Man, I don't need no
But you
help.
see-
I got this, homie.
Are there black kids
I'm
that
sorry.
are going to get into Harvard? Of course they are. Of
course.
But you see, as soon as they ended it, it dropped. The numbers dropped.
Because the numbers was already low. I know what you're
They
saying.
were already
I
low,
know.
but
It's
I'm just
wrong.
saying you
It's
need
wrong.
that in place to at least create those opportunities. Because
Yeah.
if certain things aren't there, then automatically we're gonna slowly get weeded out.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not a detour, but it's certainly an off ramp we might take. You might see, like, you ever been on a freeway and be like, damn, this is In and Out right there? I'm like, In and Out always be out there on the freeway too. You're like, damn, I can hit that. Okay. Affirmative action. To feel like you actually have benefited from affirmative action, does that discount your accolade, your result? Because for me, when somebody came to me one day, and like I hear it a lot, but one time it hit me. Somebody's like, you got into Columbia because you black. And I was like,
Dare you?
No, it's because you.
I clutched my pearls. I was like, wait a
He was
minute.
a big athlete.
All those sleepless nights, all those times I was in that workbook studying and learning words I didn't know the day before, those players I ran over, like I was like, this didn't culminate in just I qualified. It culminated in you close, but you ain't third generational. Like I went to school with the wealthiest of the wealthiest in the Ivy League. I mean, I ain't even trying to clown nobody who else didn't go. It's just a whole different animal. Like, it's the third generation landing in a helicopter with $25,000 a month as his monthly allowance. Talking about, you want to go to the pub? And I'm like, what are you talking about that I don't know about? I went through that experience and it hit me and I was like, I will feel so undercut if I ever benefited from affirmative action. And a lot of my people tell me, dummy, of course you did.
What they call you?
You dummy.
He was waiting.
Just saying.
He was holding that.
Carver, did I make it up, Carver?
That's the card.
He was waiting for that.
You're right. What, like,
But you do need it though.
no.
But you know what you did? You did something that you did in the previous conversation.
You don't need it.
You did something that you did in a previous conversation where you talked about your specific experience and if you felt you needed it, but everybody's not in your shoes, and there are the flip side of that. There's those black kids that did the grades.
Do you vote for everybody else or you vote for you? You just told
but what I'm saying
you told
is,
me the last conversation to vote for you.
You do have to vote for you.
I did not
But
need
me
it.
voting for me doesn't mean that my eyes are closed to everything else that's going on.
Ooh,
So there's other kids who had those grades.
I see you struggling.
There's other kids that had those grades that didn't get in.
This is Justin.
Those kids do need
He
that.
did flip flops.
No.
Come on, man. Stop.
I'm still saying you vote for you, but that doesn't mean you're blind to everything else that's going
To
on.
what we do.
Two things can be true.
You're not true.
Two
He just
things
on the
can
bus
be
with
true.
me.
It's not true.
I'm a driver. Was it a truck, a trailer?
He's a trailer.
He's a trailer.
He's driving the trucks and trailers. Marcellus is the truck. You're the trailer.
You're a trailer.
But what we're saying,
I'm giving
facts. We're talking about opportunities because in all of that, when we're talking about hiring whatever, everyone talks about the most qualified, whatever, but there's benefits to those who are different than you. And it may not just be grades or what's on your resume or whatever, but if we're talking about being open and trying to be open to what others can provide, maybe they didn't have the best grades, but they provide something else that enabled the company to go to a higher level. So what you're doing is trying to create opportunities to think a little outside of the box and having the conversation. Doesn't mean that it happens, but you at least want to engage in the conversation.
I like all that. I like all that. Look,
But
first of all, I learned a lot. I learned
the same thing.
You're over here saying, get what you get it out the mud or whatever in our first segment, and now you're coming back over. I'm just like, I don't.
Hey, me and you, we are Democrats for life because you are a fake Republican. I thought you was a real
Independent.
Y'all gotta watch that if y'all don't know what we're talking about.
Both sides. I can see both sides of the spectrum. I didn't flip on anything. What did I flip on?
Hold on, I'm asking you, Snoop, are you performing or not?
I didn't flip on anything. You got to. What did I flip on?
I'm performing.
Everything I said was fact based.
Snoop
fact-based
Dogg
things.
is done.
You flip like Simone Biles.
Nobody's telling me
nobody
what I
You
knows.
flip like Simone Biles, bro.
Nobody's telling me what I flipped
You
on.
went like Simone Biles.
Hey,
You did a triple Lindsay,
Yeah, he did.
like Rodney
What did I
Dangerfield.
I lost my homie.